Welcome back to FiddleUP. I am Emerald Ray, and today we're going to be learning the Mingulay boat song. And I'm still settling into this arrangement, so I hope I don't change this wildly on you every 5 minutes. I've done this song a lot on guitar, and I've only recently tried doing it with the fiddle, so this is still kind of fresh even for me. So I'm actually not going terribly crazy with the arrangement. I'm just kind of starting slow. So I can talk about some things that I might add to this later, but here it is for right now. It's a really great session song. So I kind of wanted to just throw it out there as a great option for picking up for your fiddle singing because it's such a great one. And I also feel that not having a wild and crazy arrangement on this one is fine. The song speaks for itself so well. It almost doesn't need anything. It doesn't actually need any accompaniment. It's a great a cappella song. And so it's got all this, seafaring vocabulary in it. It's a really, really beautiful song. And it's very short. I'm sticking very closely to the original version of this song, and there are really only the chorus and the 2 verses. There are later versions of this song where they added verses to it, so feel free to do some research and find that. But I'm kind of not one of those people that wants to learn or even write a zillion and a half verses. I kind of feel like 2 is good. It's just it's my personal preference for verses. I feel like 2 to 3 tops is good for a song, and then other stuff should be going on. So this song, we'll start off with the chorus. We'll start off singing first. So it's Hill ya ho boys, let her go boys. So we're in D here. Hill ya ho boys, let her go boys. Bring her head round into the weather. Sorry. I've known and sang this song for years, but there's something about these lyrics that are actually a little bit tricky, even for me to remember. So don't worry, they're actually a little bit difficult. Bring her head round into the weather. And, I'm actually, the lyrics that I'm actually looking at say now all together. I gotta put up some lyrics on the side to give myself a prompt, but I'm doing different things even than that. So I'll write them down there. They will be down there. So bring her head round into the weather. Hill ya ho boys, let her go boys, sailing homeward to Mingulay. So it sounds like this. Hill ya ho boys, let her go boys, bring her head round into the weather. Hill ya ho boys, let her go boys, sailing homeward to Mingulay. So if you spent any time whatsoever in the Celtic community, I'm sure you've heard this one. It's kind of very similar to the Wild Mountain Time, where this is a very popular song. So hopefully you've heard it before. And so we're going to be doing something with the fiddle that I don't often do. This is actually the most normal thing to do with fiddle singing, and I actually do it as little as possible. And that's to sort of copy the melody with the fiddle. Here boys, let her go, boys, bring her head round into the weather. Here boys, let her go, boys, sailing over to Mingulay. Something like that. I'm changing around the chords a little bit, and as you see, I didn't straight up play the melody, but I'm referencing it as I'm going. So there is a couple of different little surprisey reharm things that I did in the beginning version. Again, this version is still settling even for me. So I'll tell you what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to play the melody in the beginning part. I find that even though I've sang this song for years, years, instead of heel-ya-ho, I often say heel-ya-ho. So I don't think it matters. It's that is just heel-ya-ho, heel-ya-ho. And that's actually nonsense words that come up a lot in. So I might have heard it as heel-ya-ho. I think some people sing it as heel-ya-ho. So heel. If you're hearing that be different, then don't worry about it too much. There's a lot of nonsense words in folk songs, and those are just it's just sailor talk, I guess. So starting off, and I am shifting here, which I can do because I don't know if you've seen in the beginning video, but I am wearing a strap right here. So this little thing that's right here that's holding the fiddle up is holding the fiddle up, and that makes it so I can shift very, very easily, which is the reason why I wear it. If you don't have one of those, and you're still kind of resting on the shoulder, you can still shift, but downshifting is going to be really difficult because, as you know, when you downshift, you naturally pull the fiddle out, and that might be really awkward. So I would suggest either don't shift. I'll show you both ways of doing it, and I'll shift for the people who either want to wear a strap or figure out how to do it without a strap. Because I do that a lot, and I want to make sure that I teach you guys how to do that if you want to learn it. But you can also just use your fourth finger. That is perfectly fine and get pretty much the same sound. So we're going to start off with first finger on the G string down here, and open D. And I'm sliding up to a D here, so I have my second finger on the D. Again, you can also just use your fourth finger. So I'm leaving my D open. We are in the key of D. So I'm just doing some long notes there. I'm kind of still settling. You can even do some pulses here if you wanted to. But the chords are... So that's heel-ya-ho, boys. Heel-ya-ho, boys. And then I'm letting the melody sail over the top while I just play that D unison. Let her go, boys. And then something that's really pretty to do is to go down to a B and open. So that's an A on the bottom, so I'm barring the two bottom strings with my first finger, so I have an A and an E. So that is a B and a G, B and a D, sorry. Bring her head round. And then I'm following the melody here into the... So that is on the D string, I'm going... So that's an E, an F sharp, an E, and a D. But I'm holding on to that A on the bottom. And then what sounds the best, although you can decide what you want to do here, you can say, into the weather. And that is still following the melody, so I have a B on the bottom. Or if you want to have something that sounds a little bit more open and exciting, you can just throw an open G in here, into the weather. So that sounds nice and full and open because I'm singing a whole chord. My voice is the third of that G chord. So that's why that sounds fuller and nicer, because instead of playing it on my fiddle, I'm using my fiddle to actually accompany and fill out that chord. Into the weather. So do you see how I'm ducking in between doing chords and playing the melody here? I think that's really good to do. It kind of sneaks in the melody a little bit without having it seem like it's just a unison the whole time, and can seem a little bit, like it's a little bit boring that way. And if you switch back and forth from doing a little bit of melody, a little bit of chords, it kind of catches people's ear and they kind of don't know what's going to happen next. So it's a little bit of intrigue. So far we have and you can use the B there if you want to Mingulay. But again, I think that sounds a little bit thin, so I think letting it go and Mingulay is nice. So that's it. So it's just the same chords twice there. My bowing is kind of all over the place because I'm just trying to get the feel of I'm actually moving with the feel of the melody there. So I'm falling very naturally into a up, down for 2, up for 1, and down for 2. And so that's giving me this kind of nice nautical feel. You know, I don't know. Just kind of going with the feel of the song and the whole nautical feel of the song. My bow is catching some waves there. I don't know. But just that's what the melody is speaking to me. If I wanted to do some blockier versions, you know, I could follow the music a little bit more and sing There's nothing wrong with that, but that kind of almost has a little bit more of a mechanical feel. So I'm going for something wavy and less mechanical. That's all the thought that's going into that. And then I'm going into the first verse here. What care we though white the minch is? And the minch I know is a body of water, and I can't remember what it is. I actually couldn't find what this. I know white means something and minch means something else, and I can't remember for the life of me. And I tried to look it up and I couldn't figure it out. So if somebody else figures out what this line means, let me know. What care we though white the minch is? It might mean white caps, like it's you know, there's a storm going on. White the minch is. So the minch being a body of water, and I still have to look up what that is. What care we though for wind and weather? You could also say what care we though for wind or weather is the original version. Look around, boys, every inch is sailing homeward to Mingulay. And that's a little bit different than the original version. I either stole that from somewhere or made it up. It's a little bit more like the verse, like the chorus than it is the verse. So look around, boys, every inch is sailing homeward to Mingulay. And so these are, you might find as you go, you might find a better version of these words, and feel free to use that instead of these ones. These are just what I've fallen into over the years. So I'm going into 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 thingy with my bow. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so this song is in 3/4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 I'm doing this a little fast. I like my waltzes pretty fast. So I'm on the very fast side here. You could definitely slow this down if you wanted to. So you get that nice 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So, and again, you could just keep on drones if you don't want to add this in, but it's kind of nice. And I like to add a little extra oomph on the 1 for once. I don't often encourage that, but thinking about doing that because it happens so naturally. But I think a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is nice here. So the first verse goes, what care we though white the minches? What care we though for wind and weather? Look around, boys, every inch is sailing onward to Mingulay. So, you know, that's just kind of rolling along with everything that we've got there. So I'm just keeping that very lightly warm. And, you know, you could add a little bit more of the melody in there if you wanted to, but I think for the first verse, it's okay to keep it kind of plain because you're still just introducing the song at this point. So you don't want to go crazy with a lot of arrangement stuff on verse 1, that's for sure. So we've gotten from the droney Hill-Yo-Ho Boys in the beginning, we've gotten through verse 1, and then I'm going into an instrumental where I'm sort of referencing the melody, but so here's the problem with a lot of these song arrangements on the fiddle is that, so now with this first verse, what dare we though white the minches, what care we though for wind and weather? Look around, boys, every inch is sailing onward to Mingulay. So if I were to just go into the melody, all of the sudden it sounds really boring. There's not enough going on. And that's because when you establish a rhythmic pattern, it's really hard to get out of unless you have some dramatic arrangement shift. And that's actually not what you want going into an instrumental. So that's a problem. So that is actually a huge reason why most people who do fiddle singing and do stuff like this use loops, because you could actually just, I could have put my looper on during, you know, I could have recorded my fiddle playing the verse and then just clicked a button and had that loop continue, and I could have just stood there and played a little bit of the melody over something that I had recorded that I just played. So that is a big reason why people use loops. But I do not use loops. So I have to solve this problem. So what I'm going to do is, like I was talking about in the chord structure, when I'm saying, okay, I'm doing a little bit of chords and I'm doing a little bit of melody. That's exactly what I'm going to do on the instrumental. So again, my arrangement for this hasn't quite settled into a total thing, but what I'm trying to do is play some of the melody and then catch a little bit of that 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 rhythm as I'm going. So sailing homeward to Mingulay. So that is a little bit sloppy and messy, but that's kind of okay. It kind of goes with this song somehow. So It sounds a bit random. It sounds like a storm on the high seas, I guess. So I'm starting off from sailing over to Mingulay, and I'm on a G chord. And so what I can do with the triple stop, so I can do this really dramatic, I can use my rhythms for a second to segue into the next bit. And I can give myself a nice big fat 4 chord, which always sounds so satisfying going into the melody again. So I'm playing a full G chord here. I have a B on my A string, and then I'm doing a C sharp, some really nice tension there, and then hitting the D at the top, and then I'm going into the melody here. So I'm hitting a full D chord there, so I'm telling people what the chord is. And that's just me hitting open strings, but at that point it sounds a little spooky and cool. And then I'm going back to my G chord here. And do you see how I'm just throwing my bow around? I just know the D chord is there, and I want to just reference some rhythm as I'm going. And then so using that G chord to segue, do a nice big segue into the verse there. So I would say try to find something in there, and I'll go over that a little bit more slowly so you can get an idea of what's going on there. So, because that was a lot. But again, I'm just improvising this. I just know that I have a G chord here, and I have a D chord here. So I'm not thinking about it too much, actually. I'm just kind of switching back and forth. So, I would just play around with it and experiment, because you'll come up with something that's your own version of everything that I just said, that'll feel comfortable to you rather than copying my exact version. Because again, I'm just kind of improvising this. So we have from the last chorus, sailing over to So that's something like that in between all of those rhythms. So after we've done that, we've gotten to the end. So let's and then we got to get all the way back to here, or you can or if that's too intense for you to go from that G, then you could actually you're not locked into my arrangement. If you need a little bit more time there, you can put in something there instead. So moving on, I would highly suggest you try that anyway, because it's so exciting. So give that a try. So now we're in the last verse here. Wives are waiting by the pier head, looking seaward from the heather. Pull around, boys, and we'll anchor ere the sun sets on Mingulay. So that is, wives are waiting by the pier head, looking seaward from And for that part, I'm doing exactly the same rhythm and chords that I did on the second verse. Was waiting by the pierhead, looking seaward from the heather. Pull around, boys, and we'll anchor ere the sun sets on Mingulay. Here, boys, let her go, boys. Bring her head round into the weather. Here, boys, let her go, boys. Sailing onward to Mingulay. So that is all I'm doing on that third and fourth verse. That is exactly the same as the first verse, so we don't need to go through all that again. And then at the end, I'm doing the chorus again, but just going back to the beginning. And actually, this is a fun arrangement thing that I like to do. Is I actually like to bring things back to the beginning. I think that's kind of a neat thing to do. It kind of makes the song feel like a palindrome in a way, where it's kind of bookended itself. And there's something actually really dramatic about bringing the energy all the way back down. There's something that really is focus attention and catches people's attention. I don't know, focuses one's attention onto that last verse, and it gives you all this space to have a nice slow landing there at the end. So I'm just going back to here, boys, let her go, boys, bring her head round into the weather. Here, boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward to Mingulay, to Mingulay. So that is what I'm doing at the very end there, and I'll break down what I'm doing. I'm playing my A chord, sailing homeward to Mingulay, and then I'm putting my second finger down, my B and F sharp, I'm barring over lay. So I'm singing a full B minor chord there, and so that's kind of giving people a surprise. They're expecting that D chord, and I'm not giving it to them yet. You can't have it yet. I'm gonna B minor first. Lay, and I'm singing a D, so I'm getting a full B minor chord here. Lay, and then I'm just repeating that line again, going back to the A, to Mingulay, and then I'm gonna put my second finger down on the F sharp. So when I sing that D again, I will now be getting a full D major chord here. To Mingulay. And it just sounds very, almost kind of churchy and heavenly at the end there. So that whole line is, to sailing homeward to Mingulay, to Mingulay. And that, I feel like, is a beautiful way to end that. So this has been Mingulay Boat Song. I hope you enjoyed this song as much as I do, and feel free to rewind to the beginning and sing it along with me. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.